I remember this commercial from when I was a child, and it was for Zoloft. They said, uh, the cause of depression is unknown, but depression is a serious medical condition caused by an imbalance in chemicals. And then they put up the little chart, and you're like, oh, okay. So what's implied here is people who have depression have a chemical imbalance, and it's sort of implied that this is just something you're born with. Like it's just a deficiency, like some people who have more hair on their chest and some who don't. Like, oh, you just have a chemical imbalance. But hold on a second. That is not scientifically totally the whole story, right? Because you're not born with a certain amount of chemicals in your body and then those chemicals just stay the same. And if you got an imbalance, too bad. It's not how chemicals work. Your body is releasing chemicals into your system every day, all day at varying degrees. And yes, emotions are influenced by your chemicals, but those chemicals are going to fluctuate hour by hour, even minute by minute, based on what you're perceiving. So where your emotions actually come from is how you perceive your reality is interacting with your values. I repeat, your emotions are coming from how you perceive your reality is interacting with your values. And it's no different with sadness, even if it's at the point of depression. Depression is an expression of your inner self feeling like it's being violated or feeling like your values are being violated by what you perceive to be your reality. So let's break that down, okay? Your reality as you perceive it can be anything because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between if you're dreaming and if you're actually awake. Your subconscious mind is going to give you the emotions because that's your perceived reality. You may have noticed that you wake up like in a cold sweat or nervous or sad based on the dream that you had, and it was a dream and you know it's fake, but you still feel the emotions when you wake up because your subconscious mind didn't know the difference. And even if you're awake and you know that you're just daydreaming, you can get emotions from your daydream. And even if you're just thinking about something, it's not even quite a daydream, but you just have a thought, you will feel emotions based on that thought. So you can just see a puppy that's really cute. And if you value cute puppies, you can get a good sensation just from looking at that puppy, just from perceiving it in your reality. And the list goes on. It is an endless list throughout the day, constantly. Your metaphysical self, who you are inside, your ego, the self, is interacting in energy form with the outside world. And it's perceiving, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that. Oh, I don't like that, I don't like that. And it's giving you signals in the form of the chemicals it's releasing into your bloodstream. So you get the sensation, you get emotions, the energy in motion through your system. That's how emotions work. So when something is in line with your values, when it complements your values, like that cute puppy or a cute baby or receiving a large amount of money in your bank account, you're going to get chemicals that make you feel good. Dopamine, serotonin, those are the good feeling chemicals. Someone you value in your life saying, I love you and I value you. Those give you good feelings. Likewise, when you perceive something in your reality, whether it's thought or seen or heard, is violating your values, then you're going to get negative chemicals and emotions. Cortisol, adrenaline, right? And this can look 1,000 different ways. But for depression, what's typically found is that there is something that you cannot accept in your reality. And you feel like you can't accept it because it's violating something you value. Some people become depressed when they lose their child, when they lose their spouse or their boyfriend, girlfriend, their mate, or their friends, or their job, or their position. Some people become depressed when they perceive that things are unfair in the world and they can't change it. And they look at the conditions in society and they feel down about what's happening to other people. Some people feel depressed because they've worked hard and they've gotten to a certain level and they've achieved their goals, but they still feel unfulfilled, or they still feel unworthy, or they still feel unliked or unloved. Something you value is being violated by your perception of reality. That is why you feel depressed. Not because you were born 30, 40, 50 years ago with a chemical imbalance. No, it's because right now, or sometime in your history, you're being traumatized by what's going on. Traumatization is, put simply, a violation of your boundaries. It's a violation of the self. It's going against what you feel, what you believe, what you value. So contemplate for yourself what it is that is actually making you depressed, and write down those thoughts on a piece of paper, because they are thoughts. They are how you're perceiving reality. In order to be able to change your feeling state, in order to be able to come out of your depression, you have to access the emotions through the emotional control panel. So you may have felt like and believed your whole life, I can't control my emotions. I can't control the way that I feel. To a degree, that's true, because when the emotions hit you, it was all done by an automated system in the subconscious. That little part of your brain that controls those chemicals is just sending them out to you, and you didn't directly ask for them consciously. You didn't say, hey, can I get some cortisol? I would like to feel awful right now. But it just sends it to you as an automated system. So like your digestion and your circulatory system and all of the many automated systems in your body, it's a blessing that you don't have to constantly monitor and guide these systems. Understand that your emotional system is a blessing as well. It is a gift. Be grateful for your emotional system, and be grateful that it's giving you a signal. Your sadness is a signal to you that something is wrong, and it wants you to address the issue. Your subconscious mind is working to protect you. Be grateful for that. It wants you to address something that is wrong in your life. So identify it and write it down on a piece of paper. Now you want to recognize that this shows something beautiful about you. And depression shows something beautiful about good people, because you're sad about something that's valuable to you. So it reveals to you what's valuable. So look down at your piece of paper and what you wrote down. What does it reveal as valuable to you? And now how does that show what type of person you are? For instance, a mother that's sad that she lost her son or daughter, it shows her that she truly loves her child because she's sad. If she was the type of person who didn't care about her child, she'd be like, good, right? But you're not feeling that. If you're feeling depression, you feel sadness because you are a good person. Your sadness is showing you that you are good. You are a person of deep love and feeling and empathy. And you care about your child and having a connection with them and a relationship with them. We need more parents like that in the world. Recognize that this is showing something good about you and be grateful for that. Or if it's showing that you're sad because you lost your spouse, it's showing again that desire for love and connection and empathy. You're a good person, right? Your sadness reveals the type of person you are. And if you're depressed, it may be because you're a good person and you're mourning bad circumstances and you feel helpless. Maybe you feel like you can't change it. It's very important to have the right perspective and the right attitude on what's really happening to you right now. You are not inherently ill from birth. That is not the cause of your depression. You're going through something. You're experiencing something right now. And once you realize that, then we can start seeing things as they really are. Because medication, although it can work for some, 50% have reported that medication has helped them. Medication is not in any of the percents a cure. It's there to alleviate symptoms. It is not a cure. So to cure an emotion, to change an emotion, we need simply access our emotional control system through the control panel. So picture 3 doors in the control panel. You have the first door, which is your reality, the second door, which is your perceptions, and the third door, which is your values. All 3 of these things represent points in which we have control to make a change. So option number 1 is your reality. Sometimes we can change what's making us feel depressed by changing our reality. For instance, if we lost our job, we may be able to alleviate our depression by going out and getting a new job. Sometimes you have the ability to change reality. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's something that's out of your control, that you cannot go back and change. So we're going to have to use one of the other access points to cure our depression. Now we still have left our perspectives and our values. Your values are essentially you. It's synonymous. What you value is who you are. But we have the ability many times to just change or alter a value so that we can feel relief emotionally. How do you change or alter a value? Well, whatever it is that's being violated, you may be able to simply change the way you feel about that. That's your value. So for instance, if you're very depressed because your television got stolen, you may realize, you know what, I feel like I'm too depressed about this, so I'm going to change my value. I'm going to switch the value, and I'm going to say to myself, you know what, I really don't care about material things. And the moment you accept the new value, that you don't care about material things, your depression will feel relieved. If you're depressed because you were left by a spouse, or you were left by a girlfriend or boyfriend or a friend, you may look deeper and realize, okay, why does this affect me so much? Well, because now I feel like they don't love me. And if they don't love me, then I'm not valued. And they were my source of joy. They were my source of happiness. Now, if you go in and you change those values, such as, well, a girl is not supposed to be my source of happiness. Or my main source of love should be from myself. Or maybe I'm looking to a higher power, but I'm not supposed to be looking to another human being as being my main source of love. So when you change the value, I don't look for love in other people as my main source of love. If you change the value, a person is not my main source of joy. All of a sudden your depression will diminish. And the last door that's left is our perspectives. Because fact of the matter is we can't even always change our values, because we may be valuing something that we just have to value, such as a parent valuing their child, right? But your perspective is something that you can always change 100% of the time. Your perspective is something you can always change. Your perspective is how you're seeing a situation, which part of it you're focusing on. Everything is 3-dimensional. It has different sides and different parts to it. So even bad situations have parts to it that you can look at and focus on. And even a bad situation that has nothing good, nothing positive, no silver lining is a temporary situation. So you can look beyond that situation. And you can change the perspective to say, okay, this situation is bad and there's nothing good about it, but it's over. Or it's temporary and it's going to be over. Or there's a potential for me to overcome this obstacle. So one gentleman I spoke to, he lost his daughter as a result of a split from his spouse. So his spouse leaving him means that she took his daughter away from him, and now he's sunk into a depression, a sadness. First of all, we have to recognize this shows something beautiful about him. We need more fathers that really feel sad for losing their daughters. It shows something beautiful about him. Second, now he needs to go into his access panel. He needs to figure out what he can change. Now he can't change the reality right away because his daughter's gone, but he may be able to change it in the future. He can't change the value. He'll always value his daughter, right? But he can change his perspective on the situation because this could be temporary and he could change himself and bring himself into optimal mental health, optimal physical health, optimal financial health, so that he can accept and create the circumstances to bring his daughter back into his life. He has the ability to change his circumstances, which partially led to him losing his daughter. He can change those circumstances so that he can potentially get his daughter back. And now, what is more valuable to do than to change the circumstances to potentially get your daughter back right now? What else could you be working on? And so the perspective now needs to change because he needs to focus not on the sadness that he feels for the loss, but on what he needs to do to make the change. And now it's going to take work for him to change his circumstances and to be able to go out and get optimal physical health and mental health and change his financial status. It's going to take work. And so he'll need to utilize a little tool that I'm going to give you, a little trick. And that's converting your sadness into madness. You see, because sadness is good for a point, right? When we lose a relative in death, it's proper for us to be sad. Sad feelings are proper, but sad feelings don't get anything done. So there comes to a point to which our grief needs to subside and we need to get back to work, back to life, back to enjoyment, back to playing again. But if we get stuck in a spiral of sadness, it goes into depression, which leads us into mental illness, which can lead us into being suicidal, self-harming, everything that's absolutely bad, and leads to a worsening of what you were sad about in the first place. So you have to recognize that what's making you sad has the potential to make you even more sad and make this situation get worse. Because if this man were to spiral into his depression so far that he never gets his daughter back now because he's clearly unhealthy, now his depression's only going to get worse. So sadness becomes maladaptive, meaning unhelpful, unuseful, not going to work. If we allow it to exacerbate into a depression, and allow that depression to go on to a point of being a mental illness. So what does he need to do? Well, by switching his perspective and realizing that he has control over if he's going to get mentally healthy, physically healthy, and financially in a better place, he has control over that. He can take action. So he's got to convert the sadness and into madness. And how does he do that? Change the perspective of the situation. He needs to look at the situation and you say, you know what? I'm upset that I lost my daughter. Like, I'm not upset, upset. I'm mad. I'm not going to let this situation continue. So we're not talking about the anger that becomes explosive and out of control. We're talking about that slow, burning, adaptive determination. He's going to take that madness, that anger, and convert it into determination. He's going to use it as fuel. This is not okay. That's adaptive. I cannot stand for this. That's adaptive. I will not tolerate this situation anymore in my life. That's adaptive. And that's the way that we take ourselves out of depression, by getting just a little bit mad. Just mad enough to do what we need to do to change it. This is not a mad where we go and we complain to someone. No. We keep it quiet. We keep it quiet. We don't tell our moves to anyone, because we're not going to allow anyone to sabotage us. This is where we move forward and we take the action that we need to take. We work within the system. We work legally. We work adaptively. We have a strategy to everything that we're doing so that we can get the circumstance change and we get that new job, or we get that daughter back, or we attract the woman back into our life. We actually make the changes that we can make. We focus on what we can control. That's adaptive. What can I control? I can work out. I can work harder. I can go to the gym. I can go to work. I can get overtime. I can open my own business. I can focus on my business. I can build it. Listen, you're a good person. That's already been demonstrated by the fact that you felt sadness about the situation. Your depression is a demonstration that you are good and you want better for the world. And a good person believes what is right, and a good person does what is right. So now you need to snap into action. Action is what's going to create a change, because you don't need to just go through this trial now, but you need to grow through this trial and transition from being a good person to a great person, because a great person takes action. When they see there's something that needs to be changed, they snap into action and they change it. A great person makes a difference. A great person recognizes their personal power. A good person does what is right, but a great person rights what has been done. If there's an injustice, they shine a light on that injustice so that they can bring justice to it. They make what is unfair fair again. So you need to look at your situation and convert your attitude from I cannot take this to I will not take this. If you need help, reach out. I'm here to support you.